Hey y'all. So today I wanted to talk about the best thing that I did for myself to help treat my endometriosis symptoms. Got a cat over here. So I think we can all agree that there is no cure for endometriosis. So it's like a well-established fact now. There's just no cure. There's all kinds of different treatments that you can try. Some things work for some people and some things don't work as well for others. But the thing is that because endometriosis itself is such a vast condition, all of the treatments affect people equally as vastly. Is that a thing? I just made it a thing. Okay. So for me, you know, I've tried all the supplements and exercises and, you know, the typical heating pads, painkillers, all that usual stuff. So then about 1.5 years ago, I started making changes with my diet. Prior to that, I had tried things like eliminating dairy, which didn't go so well for me because I love cheese and it just made me sad. And that one was actually, that was really hard because there's dairy in everything. Everything. If you're talking about being super hardcore about it, there's butter and cheese and milk and everything. But I mean, I guess if that works for you, that's great. That's something that you probably would like to commit to. I didn't notice a dramatic change. Oh, there's a cat. I didn't notice a dramatic change in my symptoms, so to me that wasn't worth the, what's the word I'm looking for? The sacrifice. So what I did find for me was kind of like a keto-based sort of diet. And I know keto is like the word that everybody just either loves or hates to hear. I took it after a lot of research. I did some research into what's called the Endo diet, which is kind of also where I drew my, it's kind of where I drew my inspiration to eliminate dairy as well, because the Endo diet, the whole idea there is to reduce or completely eliminate foods that are thought to increase chances of or outright cause an inflammatory response in your body. And again, because everybody's so different, everybody's going to have a different response for that as well. So the Endo diet eliminates things like red meat, caffeine, dairy, certain grains, and things like that. I didn't get too far into it because as soon as they said red meat and caffeine, I was out. Not gonna lie, like, everything else sucks, so why am I gonna get rid of caffeine and dairy? It's just not gonna happen. Those are like my two sustaining life forces, so those have to stay. That's really not even optional. So I did pay attention to like the grains part though, because I thought, knowing my body, I know how I feel after I eat a certain kind of meal, and I've noticed after 30 something years if certain things cause different responses in me. So I know that if I eat like a ginormous plate of spaghetti, which is amazing and delicious and awesome, I also feel like crap very soon afterwards. I have a lot of like the endo belly, like the whole bloating kind of thing is probably my biggest complaint, but also fatigue is a huge one for me. So I looked into like keto diet, which if you're not familiar, the ketogenic diet is like super low carb, super strict. And again, I took some liberties with that because it says no caffeine and I can't do that. So basically I sort of took the bulk of the keto diet and a few things from like the Endo diet and then the few things that I'm not willing to sacrifice, and ended up with sort of like a low carb-esque diet, I guess. So at the end of the day, my goal was to have 20 or less carbs per day. which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but then you pick up like a package of tortilla shells and there's 36 carbs in one tortilla, and tortillas are the nectar of the gods and they make everything better. You can put it in a tortilla and it's amazing. So I did have to make a lot of adjustments there, but I did find that it was definitely worth it. And I noticed that for me, it was worth it super fast, almost immediately. Almost immediately, I noticed that it was a huge improvement. I did not, like I said, give up caffeine. I do drink Cherry Coke Zero. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not a smoker or anything like that, so if I'm gonna have one vice and it's caffeine, you're gonna leave me alone for it, so. But it does have 0 calories and like no carbs, so to me that kind of fits in with my guidelines of what my diet was gonna be. For the first year, I didn't have any fruit, like 0 fresh fruit, and that was really hard because I really love fruit. But I did add that back in after a year, and I'm totally happy that I did that. And what I ended up with was a diet that is now whole fruits and vegetables, and meat, including red meat and chicken and fish, and I do eat dairy. My goal is to have like minimally processed foods, and like minimal ingredient foods. So I don't eat fast food. I haven't had fast food in years. Not judging. I would love to be able to go scarf down some burritos at Taco Bell like right now, but I've really noticed that it's not worth it for me. So I don't do fast food. I don't do highly processed food. I don't do any grains. I don't do any pasta, no bread. I love bread. No pasta, no bread, no sugar. So no junk food. I'm a sucker for a chocolate chip cookie. So hard. I think the hardest part was like the first 6 months trying to adjust. And I know the big thing is like, oh, look at this keto approved recipe, or this low carb approved recipe, or this paleo recipe, whatever, where they take something that's perfectly lovely and glorious, like a pizza, and try and tell you that it's going to be just as good if you put it on a bed of mushed up cauliflower. And that's a lie. It's a lie. You can tell me that I did it wrong. I don't care. Go ahead. It's a lie. So I had to come to the realization that there are not going to be any direct equivalents to the things that I love that I was giving up. So I had to stop trying to find, like, scanning Pinterest looking for recipes to replace the things that I love. It's just not going to happen. If you love something, you love it for a reason, and there's just not going to be any sufficient replacement with almond flour or coconut flour or cauliflower mush or monk fruit or anything like that. But there are things that can replace the things that you were eating before. And like I said, you just have to adjust and know that there's not going to be any substitutes, only direct replacements. So some of the biggest things that did help me were Sola bread, S-O-L-A. I think there's 3 different kinds that I found at my local Meijer, and it's like 4 carbs per slice. I mean, they're small pieces of bread, but they're pieces of bread, so I'll take it, and they make an okay grilled cheese. That's fine. And then Mission makes a low carb tortilla. The whole wheat ones have 5 net carbs, and the regular ones have 6 net carbs. So for me, like I said, put anything in a tortilla and that's 100% better, that was okay. I will make that substitution. And the only difference I found with the tortillas is that maybe they were like a little bit chewier, but I'm okay with that too. So replacing sweets like candy and chocolate and all those glorious things. My biggest like transitioning factor is peanut butter. Like, I'll eat peanut butter by the spoonful. And to such a degree now that my niece, who is 2, so I've been doing my low carb stuff since she was like 6 months old, she now walks around with a spoon and asks for peanut butter, because that's Auntie's influence. That's me. Okay. Anyway, so So it's not a strictly ketogenic diet. It's not paleo. It's not anything. It's just what I had to mess with and come to terms with and realize the things that made my life a little less comfortable, that would cause interactions in my body that I was not hoping for. And then once I started eliminating things and noticing how my body was responding or not responding to having these foods and these things around, it was a lot easier for me to maintain that, because I wanted to keep that feeling of not being miserable all the time. So, but again, this was not a cure-all for sure. I still have flare-ups. I still have moments of pain. I still have cysts. I still have symptoms, but this was a way for me to take control and for me to address my own body and find what I was comfortable with or not comfortable with, and in a way become more familiar with my body, because I could recognize what was causing certain things. And definitely not all of it is endo related, and not all of it is going to be it's not going to be curable. Diet is not going to fix that for me, but it made a big enough improvement that I've been doing it for 1.5 years now. Like, I have not had a piece of chocolate cake in 1.5 years, guys. A chocolate cake cookie. I haven't had one in 1.5 years. I hadn't had Taco Bell in ages. Pizza? Come on. Like, for me to give up all of that, there has to be some sort of value in the changes that I've made. So I just find that it helps, first and foremost with me, the bloating, and secondly with the fatigue. Like, I have so much more energy than I did before, and I think it's because my body's not constantly fighting what I'm feeding it. So that to me makes it worth it on its own. I don't know. Like, it used to be that I could sleep until like noon, and now I kind of like naturally wake up at like 8:30 on the weekend, but I can fall back asleep until noon. But I still kind of have that window where I do wake up and I'm still like, oh, I could get up right now, or I go back to sleep. Whereas before I would just be like out until noon, because that's just how life goes. So anyway, because we all know that there is no cure, though, I think that it's worth reviewing what you are eating and seeing if there's something that you need to maybe take control of, or if there are things that you could eliminate or adjust or readdress for yourself to see what's worth it for you. Because the outcome that I've had has been more than worth it, and it has been going on for over 1.5 years now, so I'm pretty proud of that. So if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Take care.